The morning began like any other except Sarah's side of the bed was empty. She usually left a note. Something small but warm. I love you. See you tonight. Even just a quick smiley face scrawled on the corner of a receipt if she was rushing. But that day, there was nothing. Just cold sheets and the faint scent of her lavender lotion. At first, I figured she'd gotten an early start. Maybe she had an early meeting or traffic to beat. I texted her a simple all good while I brewed the coffee. No reply. I left 2 mugs on the counter. Like always, I went to work, checked my phone every hour. By noon, her silence started to hum in the background like white noise I couldn't turn off. I called her, and it rang twice before cutting to voicemail. I tried again later straight to voicemail. By 4 p.m., I called her office. A man answered. Said his name was Colin. He sounded distracted. Oh, Sarah. Yeah, she left early today. Said she had a personal errand. I must have gone quiet because he added, She okay? I think so, I said, though my heart dropped into a deeper pit than I'd expected. She never mentioned anything about an errand. No appointments, no birthdays, no emergencies. We shared calendars. We shared lives. Didn't we? I told myself maybe she needed space. Maybe she was overwhelmed. I knew she'd been tired lately, quieter. I blamed myself for missing it. Maybe she just needed a day to breathe. But then, why not say so? Dinner was quiet. I couldn't even bring myself to microwave leftovers. I sat on the couch, staring at the door like a dog waiting for the sound of keys. At 9:17 p.m., I sent her a single message. Just let me know you're safe, please. The read receipt never lit up. The house felt heavier with every passing hour. Not like a home, more like a waiting room no one wanted to sit in. At 10:52, I stood in the bedroom doorway and stared at the hollow shape her body hadn't made. The duvet was still pulled tight where she used to sleep, as if she'd never been there at all. I laid down alone, the empty side of the bed stretching like a question mark beside me, and I started to realize something had already changed long before today. The clock on the microwave blinked 10:59. I sat in the dim kitchen, every light off except the stove's soft blue glow. My phone lay silent beside a cold cup of untouched coffee. My eyes had been dry for hours, too tired to blink, too alert to close. Then at exactly 11:01 the front door creaked open. Not rushed, not guilty, just casual, like she'd stepped out for a smoke. Not vanished for an entire day. Her keys clinked into the bowl by the door. Her heels tapped softly against the hardwood. And then she appeared in the hallway, calm, collected, her coat folded over one arm, not a hair out of place. Hey, she said, like she was walking back from yoga. My heart leapt, but not out of relief, out of confusion. Where have you been? I asked, standing. She blinked, then gave me a strange smile. Not warm, not apologetic, cold, a smirk, almost slight, controlled. Out, she said. Just that, one word, like it should be enough. You didn't answer all day. You left before sunrise. No note, no call. Sarah, I called your office. Her face didn't even flinch. David, she interrupted, hanging her coat with mechanical precision. I just needed to clear my head. You needed, I repeated, a bitter edge in my throat. Do you know what this day has been for me? I didn't know if something happened. If you were, I wasn't in danger, she said flatly, brushing invisible lint from her sleeve. You can relax. Relax. The word hit me like ice water. We used to be the couple who texted just made it to work safe before meetings. Now she disappeared and called it. Clearing her head, she walked past me like a shadow, her perfume trailing behind like a mocking echo. I followed her down the hall, unsure whether to shout, cry, or just keep asking questions. She slipped off her shoes and sat on the edge of the bed, the same one that had felt like a cliffside earlier. I'm your husband, I said quietly. I should have been part of whatever you were feeling. You can't just go off like that. Not without a word. She looked up at me, and that same smirk appeared sharper this time. Maybe that's the problem, she said. Then she stood, pulled back the sheets, and crawled into bed. Not beside me, away from me. I stared at her back in the dark, her breathing calm, her eyes closed. No guilt, no fear, no trace of the woman I used to know. The next morning felt like walking on thin ice and bare feet. Sarah moved through the kitchen as if nothing had happened. She actually hummed while she stirred her tea. Not once did she look at me. No apology, no explanation. Just the clink of her spoon and the cold shoulder of someone who'd already left. Even if her body was still here, I waited. Hope she'd say something. That maybe the weight of yesterday would catch up to her. It did in single quotes t. Finally, I broke the silence. You said last night you needed to think. About what? She glanced up. And there it was again, that look. Detached. Clinical. Like I was a patient she'd grown bored of treating. About us, she said. A pause. Stretched between us like a noose. Tightening. I've been thinking for a while, she continued, still not meeting my eyes, about whether this marriage is really what I want. My jaw tightened. You mean, yesterday wasn't just clearing your head? She shrugged. Maybe it started that way. Maybe not. I don't know. I stared at her, but she wouldn't hold my gaze. She looked past me, through me, as if rehearsing something in her head. You're seriously telling me this now? I asked, after disappearing all day. After everything we've built. She finally met my eyes. David, we haven't built anything in months. You come home, eat dinner, scroll your phone, and fall asleep. I feel like I'm married to a habit, not a person. I opened my mouth, stunned by the cruelty masked as insight. I didn't know you felt that way. I managed. That's the point, she said. You didn't ask. Something about her tone felt rehearsed, like she'd been waiting to deliver that line. You should have talked to me before now, I said. Before disappearing. Before. Whatever yesterday was. She gave a hollow laugh and turned toward the sink. It wouldn't have made a difference. For a moment, I saw the version of her I used to love, the quiet one, curled up under throw blankets on Sundays, smiling when I brought her coffee in bed. That version was gone. Maybe had been for a while. I don't want to fight, I said finally. Neither do I, she replied. But it wasn't peace in her voice. It was indifference, and that chilled me more than anger ever could. I stood there, silence stretching between us like a border neither of us wanted to cross. So I just walked away. That night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, eyes wide open, listening to the low hum of Sarah's laughter. She was next to me, yet miles away. The room was dark except for the soft glow of her phone screen. Her face lit up in flickers, then dimmed, then lit again. She giggled at something and pulled the blanket higher, turning slightly away from me. I didn't ask who she was texting. I didn't have the strength to know. Instead, I watched the curve of her cheek move with each silent smile. Not once did she look at me. There used to be nights where that screen held pictures of us, movie tickets, dinner dates, memes we'd send each other while lying in the same bed. Now it held something else. Someone else. I could have asked, could have demanded. But I already knew the answer. So I turned my back to. The silence between us wasn't loud anymore. It was still, heavy, like thick fog that filled every corner of the room and crept into my lungs. I reached for my pillow, the cool side, and gripped it harder than I meant to. It struck me how long had it been since she'd reached for me under these sheets, since her hand had brushed against mine in the dark. She laughed again, then stifled it with her palm, and I felt something snap. Not loudly. Not dramatically, just a soft pop, like a thread pulled tight finally giving way. I closed my eyes, not out of peace, out of exhaustion. Out of the quiet understanding that whatever we had, we didn't have it anymore, and maybe I was done begging it to return.